Hello, I'm James, and I'm an old guy in Europe. Hello, and welcome to another episode of An Old Guy in Europe. In this episode, I share my appearance as a featured guest on Good Morning Portugal on August 19th, 2024, in which I talk a little bit about some of the behind the scenes of the making of An Old Guy in Europe, episode 11. That was part 2 of my walk through Ericeira. I also talk about some of the challenges of navigating the bus system and some Portuguese vegetable vocabulary. So please just sit back, relax, and enjoy.
But we can't bring him on until we've heard his music. Here it is, James joining us after this. Take a bow. Here he is. How are you? No, careful. Don't bang your head on anything doing that. It's not that impressive, is it? But it's there's something there.
Yeah, I bet that hurt.
It did actually. I shouted out quite loud. Early, it was the first fall of yesterday was quite the comedy effort. I was pulling some ivy off a wall, and it freed itself a little too easily or a little more readily than I thought it was going to, and I fell backwards. And there's a potted physalis plant, which I crushed, unfortunately. But I fell right into it. I fell right into the plant pot. And I thought to myself, if anyone's watching, this is hilarious. So I did have a little chuckle myself. It wasn't as funny when I fell later on in the day into the laundry basket. I was scooping some dog food out of the dog food receptacle, put my hand on the laundry basket to steady myself, and the top of the laundry basket gave way. My hand went in. I went after it, but my face hit the side of the basket, and then my shin hit something else.
Hey.
So I was shouting when that happened. It wasn't so as funny as the first incident of the day.
Yeah, so your fall came a little early.
Oh, very good. Very, very good. And I fell over twice just so that James could do that this morning. How are you today?
We discussed it all weekend.
What can we get up to on Monday morning? I know.
Well, you need to fall and have evidence of it so that I can make that joke. Yes.
The efforts we go to, James, is incredible, isn't it? How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you.
Excellent. What have you been up to?
Fantastico. See.
Yeah.
What have I been up to? Well, mostly lately, my up-to-ness has something to do with An Old Guy in Europe.
Oh yeah, of course. And it was lovely. I watched the Fridays, and it was Jenny B. Remember her?
I do.
About her.
And I did in the episode.
Yeah, that's what prompted me. Because there are so many things we've done and talked about, people we know, people who've come and people who've gone. It's quite amazing, isn't it, when you stop to look back as you're doing?
Yes, it's evolving, and I'm trying to mix it up. So what I was doing at the end of last week, the second part of my original concept, which was a walk through Ericeira, that didn't work due to technical difficulties and me not being familiar enough with the video functions on my phone. That the second half of it, I was actually taking photos when I was walking and talking to nothing when I thought I was videotaping. So I had an hour of visuals that just didn't exist except in my mind.
Yeah.
So that said, all right, I'm done. It was hot and I had worked up a sweat by then. I said, I'll get this another day. And then I realized, it's already the high season. So it's very difficult to avoid just people coming and as you're trying to film, your little walk, there's just people everywhere and you can see they get self-conscious. So I'm trying to dodge them. Anyway, I realized this was not just the smack dab middle of the high season, but it was also a holiday weekend. And I couldn't find a day that wasn't just cloudy, foggy, rainy, whatever, until I think Thursday, which was the holiday. I said, well, I'll go Friday, which is setting up the weekend, but I'll go early. And then there were some issues with getting on a bus on time. I mean, I got there on time, but the buses still sometimes fool me. So it took me probably, well, getting familiar with the local, I can get from my house to the Ericeira terminal easily. I know, well, I shouldn't say easily, but as long as I can find a schedule that's accurate. I'm using an app that is, again, mostly accurate, which leaves just a little room for occasionally not quite working the way it's supposed to. But the circular buses and the local buses that go into the villa, I still haven't worked out who goes where when. And so I got on a bus that said, it said Ribeira d'Ilhas, but I knew that bus goes down toward the villa. The problem is it was going too far, so I got off and couldn't get to the villa from where I was by the time I had it figured out. So waited for it to come back and got back on it, but it was going back to the bus terminal. And I figured, okay, well, it's a loop, so I'll just stay on and go into the on this route. Well, it is a loop, but it comes back from Ribeira d'Ilhas. Then it goes to Foz do Lisandro, which is at the very southern end of Ericeira. So it goes.
And a very nice place. Colin took me there. It's great. Foz do Lisandro is a great little place, isn't it?
Yeah. So the bus goes all the way to the farthest northern point of the Ericeira Villa in São Sebastião, then comes back to the terminal, then goes to the farthest south point.
Okay. So eventually you're okay.
And then back to the terminal again. That's the third time's a charm. Yes. And if it finally managed to get on the bus, it took me there. So I was probably, part of my intention was to go early enough that the crowds hadn't formed yet. I figure if I get there by 9:30, maybe there won't be that many people out. And I actually found a couple live webcams of the beaches, so I could actually see what's going on at the beach right now from my computer at home, which is very nice. And I can see the weather and all that at the beach. But by the time I got there, it was after 10 and it was already starting to get busy. It's like, okay, well, and I was trying to go early enough that it wouldn't be as hot as it was the last time. And so I was basically right back on the exact same schedule. So it's been quite an adventure getting that second part done, which is the second half of the walk I initially intended from the Praia dos Pescadores, which is the sort of central beach.
Very nice.
North to São Sebastião. And anyway, I finally got it done, and it was incredibly windy, and this is my equipment, this is my mic, this is it. So the wind's blowing and I'm talking, and then when I'm editing, it's like I can't hear any of the words, which weren't all that important. I was just trying to make comments about what we're looking at. So it's like my voice is way down here in the wind.
Yeah. Hi, I'm James, and I'm an old man.
Yeah. With a little, it's like, what's he saying? You can hear my voice. Yes. What's he saying? I can't hear him.
You might have to overdub that post-production.
Well, overdub, or I don't even know how to do that yet. But I worked it out. I split the clips and faded from talking that I thought was important to wind. I faded the wind out, and then I brought myself back up if I was talking again.
Who doesn't like to fade the wind out first thing in the morning? Very good.
Anyway, It was quite the adventure. It took me another 3 hours by the time I had worked it all out. And it's literally a 10-minute walk, so.
And then the editing job after that, my goodness.
Yeah. And the editing, mostly because of the wind. And Uh, I w- I don't know how to put graphics on top of video yet, so I have to put my finger out and point at
What a
things.
learning curve
Like
you're going
my
through.
hat is there, that kind of
Wow.
thing, and
Yes.
then realize when I saw it on the actual video that what you think you're pointing at is not really what you're pointing at, so that your finger is off the target. So I just had some fun with it with my over edits. What I do know how to do, just made jokes about where my finger was. Did what
Incredible.
I could. So it
Yeah,
should be fun and it should be interesting. But it was definitely. This is the nature of my video making right now. As I become more and more familiar, it will
yes, the
become
learning
more
curve,
more and more
the
easy.
adventure. Yes, well done. Well done. Brilliant.
Learning the technology. Yes.
And
So I
you're
want
saying,
anyone who watches these to keep in mind, this is what I go through each and every time.
yeah,
It's not just, oh, nice walk, great video, just throw it on there and let it run.
it's never like that. You don't
Not
just
at
rock
all.
up and press go live, do you? The lazy
Yes.
way of doing it. You put some production into it. So amazing, amazing. We look
Yes.
forward to that. The next one will be released this coming Friday, of course. Every Friday.
Friday, and that will be this particular one I've been
Woo!
talking about. So it'll
Very
be
good. I'm
part
looking
two of my
forward.
walk.
I am having heard the director's cut now. I'm looking forward, or this is the making of. Having heard the making of, I'm looking forward to the finished product.
Yeah, I'm thinking I should just keep some of the stuff that I clip out or the mistakes I make and make an outtakes. Make
Yes,
that
Christmas time.
one of
Yeah,
my episodes is old guy
yeah.
in Europe outtakes. Oh, nice
I'm
shot of the
James.
ground.
I'm James, and these are all the mistakes. Right, let's say a few hellos this morning. Bom dia, Gumpers, e bem-vindo a uma nova semana. We have an early start today as we're back in normal Monday mode, child wrangling, coffee first though, and very quiet about your birthday, Coach Turner. So we're going to be singing Parabéns a você because it's not only Coach Turner's birthday, it's Katia Lima's birthday and Maria Malheiro, Vitor's wife as well. Vitor joining us at 9:30, of course, as well this morning on this Monday morning. I think it's the third. Is it the third Monday of the month? Anyway, yes, it is when Vitor joins us with his unique look at life, real estate, and Portugal and everything else. So we'll sing. We'll have a sing song later. I'll put the lyrics on the screen. I want you to join in at home. It's very important to learn happy birthday to you in Portuguese. God squad tip of the day then on your birthday, Coach Turner. Let's see how we get on with this, how we rate today, James. Walking is the single most important exercise for us as we travel down the slippery slope.
I'm not sure we should be walking on a slippery slope.
Yeah, right. But how best to fit it in and make it a habit? Catch the bus? No. So this week, I want to explore that. What changes to our routines can we make to help us walk enough to improve our health? That's
I know. We just make mistakes and have to do it again and again and again.
There you go.
That's the equivalent of sets of exercise, right?
It is. Well done. So nice creative thinking. Straight on it, James. Those of us who still work are probably tied to a desk. Oh, I say. Or workstation. What sort of job's that where you're tied to a desk? Don't answer that. Or workstation for pretty much 8 hours a day. But being sat for that amount of time is not healthy. It's also unproductive. Yeah, bosses, take that. How about taking a short break every 45 minutes to an hour and walking for 5 minutes? After all, smokers used to be able to take a break several times a day. They did, didn't they? They really did. And go and stand by the fire exit and passive smoke each other's
It's
smoke.
actually labor law in California.
What, to be able to go and have a smoke?
No, I think you get a paid 10-minute break every 2 hours on a shift.
Honestly, you Californians.
It's required.
Yeah, you should be able to build up to a total of 30 minutes each day. So not only becoming healthier, but more alert and therefore productive too. Give it a try. And you in the old days, you could get something out of your in tray, couldn't you? And walk it to another part of the building. I used to do all sorts of little schemes like that. I just need to pop up to accounts or down to whatever and cross to there. And yeah, you could spend most of your day away from your desk if you planned it right. Especially
just walking around.
Yeah. Bon dia, Gumpers. Oh, it's you.
Who's that?
That's you, that is. So happy birthday, Coach. Thank you very much for that. A very good idea. We'll be singing to you a little bit later on. Deagle's in, James. Bon dia, Colin Gumpers from a dry warning for a heavy rain all week. We're already 104% of average rainfall for August. It's going well for the vegetables. So look at this that he scooped from his garden. He's got, it's not a big plot. It's really well done, Deagle, what you're able to bring from your garden there. And we enjoyed seeing pictures of it, of course, when we used to do the Happy Homesteaders Get Out and Grow, not Shower or Grower. That's a different program. But here we see your, what would you call it? His harvest. It's his harvest at this time of year, isn't it? Potatoes.
We harvest.
Oh, we harvest. No, he's Irish, not Scottish. 2 cabbages.
Oh.
Is it a cucumber or courgette down there? Is that zucchini? Corn cob, rhubarb, leeks, I think, there as well. Good job. A couple of yellow red onions in there. Very good. Excellent stuff, Deagle. Congratulations.
Hey, I can say them all in Portuguese. Some of my first Portuguese vocabulary.
Okay, go on then.
Well, bottom left is either pepino or courgette, then batatas.
Yeah.
I don't think I know chard. I don't know chard, but
that's rhubarb. You know rhubarb.
Oh, rhubarb. That. Probably rhubarbu. Probably. I don't know that.
That's always a good guess.
Yes.
You're not allowed to go for cabbage.
Then we have no. Oh man, there's a couple. Corn. Milho. Yeah, milho. I can't even identify the long green things like what
that's
is.
Alio Francais, a leek.
Oh, okay. I can't see that it's a leek.
No, it's not. Vito's wagging his finger in the background there.
Yeah. It doesn't. I don't think so.
You're on the screen, Vito. We can't see you, but you can coach us in Portuguese.
Then you have cova lombarda, yes. Which is the ball-shaped cabbage. I think that's a cebola roxa, or it's a nabu. Cebola. But the nabu is above that. And then
very good, James. Very, very good.
I think that's a big fat courgette at the top above the cova.
Yes, it may well be. Courgette gordo. Grande. Yes. Okay. Very good. Well done, Deagle. Excellent stuff. Good vocabulary there, James. Didn't plan that. You put on the spot there, and you rose to the occasion.
Well, I wouldn't have said it if I didn't think it was true. So.
This isn't Portuguese, though, is it? This comment from Vitor that he's gone again. He'll be back later. But he said this. Is that what? I'm sure that's not what a leek is in Portuguese. I think
he's doing a lot of Chinese because he's learning that language.
That's Mandarin for leek, I expect. Okay, so where did we get to? Deagle's vegetables. Very impressive array, your harvest there. Sarah Yeoman, how's that trip to France going? Bon dia to you and the Yeoman family. Bon dia, Portugal, from João Ernesto. He may have sent me something. Yes, he did. Always wonderful video from John. Well, usually over the weekend. Pics and vid from ongoing Festus Indiana. This was from Friday's Desfile de Belos Trajes. We may well come back to that. Thank you very much, John. I got a mini harvest. There we go. Out of the office. He calls it the office, you see, on Sunday. 1 corn, 2 cabbage, potatoes, garlic, onions, scallions. They are the little spring onions, aren't they?
Peas. There they were.
Peas. What are peas? In ervas, aren't they?
Ervilhas.
Ervilhas, not ervas. That's herbs, isn't it? Yeah, ervilhas. Peas in a pod, a cucumber, pepino, courgette. And the Minister of Home Affairs was impressed by his big courgette. Very good, as it should be. And there are the lyrics. Make sure you've got those. I don't know if you're able to star those up from your end, but we're going to be singing to Maria, to Ian, and to Katia this morning. Few sticks of rhubarb as well. Made a nice dessert. What did you do? Loads of sugar? And then you made a rhubarb crumble, maybe? Oh, sounds fantastic. Hola, Bondi. Is the rhubarb a popular vegetable, a popular fruit in America? James, do you have rhubarb?
It's used. I don't know that it's popular. The only time I ever hear of it is in a pie.
Yeah.
So sweet and syrupy.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of any other application. Yeah. Rhubarb jam, maybe. Lord Travanca, all rise as well. I feel very close today, says Darren. Did you zoom in the camera? Yes, did a little bit, actually, so you could see my scar. However,
I thought he was talking emotionally.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay, Darren, if that's
we always feel close on this show.
Oh, bring it in, mate. Bring it in.
Come on.
My fall wouldn't have happened if I'd still had a beard. Or it might have been my face.
Wait a minute.
How the mighty fall, says Deagle, and Bon dia, Alegria Campus. And the cycling. That's why it took us almost 2 hours to get home yesterday. Did you actually see the cyclist, T-Duck, as well? This is a terrible rumor. I resent this. I don't completely deny it, but I do resent it. That is what happens when you day drink.
Put ice in your drinks, man. It'll reduce the swelling.
Okay, thank you. I'll make a note of that. Excellent. Antonio with us. Bon dia, Torsh. Morning to you as well. Antonio F. Carl, we watched the Volta in February, most years around 150 cycling, but a few thousand supporting team. It is impressive, isn't it? And they keep that moving. The police go ahead and the TV people. It's incredible. Jackie's here as well. Bon dia, Gumpers. What a lovely way to start the week. And that is not an impressive scar. Do you know, when I went over, T-Duck, I thought of you. And I was thinking to myself, any minute now, I'm going to feel blood run into my eye and down my face. But it didn't happen.
Then you have to scream some bold movie. Ah!
Or fight.
Yeah, whatever. Just something that says,
or even, no.
Hoo-ah! There you go. Then with the rim shot. Ba-doom-boom.
It's like, hoo-ah! Thank you very much, everybody. But no,
exactly.
T-Duck does have a very impressive scar. Chicks like scars. Good morning, Carl, James, and Portugal. How about that's a big welcome? That's a big welcome. But don't forget, Cordelia's meetup is happening Tuesday afternoon. I think it kicks off at 5. Feel free to put the details in the chat there, Cordelia. Your networking, business networking, and not just business, but people getting to know each other here on the Silver Coast. That's happening on Tuesday. New YouTube channel, possibly. Dog Food Dangers.
Ooh, sounds like a great title.
Now on YouTube. Gemini is also here. Good morning to you. And yes, Cordelia is saying those local buses are confusing. Now, I think you're absolutely right, James. That's the takeaway this morning from you, I think, is it can be a little bit confusing and scary getting on the buses. And it sounds like you've adopted the same strategy I picked up when I was in Lisbon. It's just to get on anywhere and see what happens.
Well, not quite that random, but yeah, stay on the same one, figuring it'll eventually get where you need to go.
Yes, and I would do that, though. I would think, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? I'll end up on the other side of Lisbon, and then I'll get the same bus back. And there doesn't seem to be a rule necessarily, does it? You think you're getting on a bus that's taking you somewhere that you're familiar with, and then it goes a different route, or there might be a little asterisk or a slight like a notice in the window that says this is not the normal route. But we didn't know that as foreigners, do we? We can't necessarily discern that.
Yep, I jumped on a bus on a very windy, rainy night.
Not
knowing where I was going, and
sorry, you got to do it in a blues song style. Come on.
The app that I was using had me walk, I don't know, about 500 meters to catch the bus that I thought I needed to catch. Turned out that bus went exactly back to where I had walked from.
So I've got those catching the wrong bus.
Just stayed there. And then I did my best to speak Portuguese. The bus driver was clear he didn't speak any English, but he just motioned me on the bus because I got a sense he knew where I was headed. But I didn't know where I was headed. So the entire bus ride that ended up in a very familiar bus stop in Mafra, but was not indicated on the map. So I thought I could have ended up, I don't know, some in the middle of nowhere on that bus, and ended up right somewhere that was very familiar, but then had to wait about 45 minutes in the wind and rain for my connection home. But I got home. That's the key takeaway there.
And we aren't the only ones, I don't think, who do this. Cordelia's with us on this as well.
That might be a great motto for especially new immigrants. Be ready for the adventure.
Yes, just get on the bus. I mean,
be ready for the adventure.
It's a great metaphor, isn't it? Just get on the bus of life, wherever it might be headed. Yatra is with us this morning. Good morning to you, Yatra. Hola, bon dia. Antonio will look after you. And Jackie will make you a cuppa as well. Bon dia from Bilbao, Spain this morning from the Bartons. Quick check-in as we're on a week-long road trip. Lovely, fantastic. Chair Qigong is nice if you can't walk a lot for a movement break. Who doesn't like a movement break? That's probably also in California law, isn't it? You're allowed to go and have a movement if necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would say you can't go if you say you need to go.
Nobody wants somebody staying in the office if they're
I don't know if it's a law, but I never had an experience where I said, nope, the
Sorry.
break doesn't come up for no. You just had your break. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You should have done it then. Got
Do it in
another
your
2
own
hours.
time. Do it in your own time, not in our time.
Okay.
Some
Right
good,
while I stand here then.
open the window.
It's my time, man.
There's some good YouTube bits I've had to adapt due to a need. Speaking from personal experience there, Cordelia. Good to have you along this morning. Couve. There you go for the cabbage as well. Very good. You call them spring onions. Culver. I said you call them spring onions. Scallions. There you go. Stewed rhubarb, then custard. Okay, it's Tuesday. See what we did there. Okay, and Paris coming up. The Yermans, the Stubble bike run is in the early planning stages, checking out other people's experiences, inspired by the Volta probably, or Vuelta. We'll start putting together what day rides will be and how many days we'll need first. Very good. Took the wrong bus once. We're definitely not alone with this.
Once?
Joined us. Yes.
Good job, man.
Amateur. Yes, and that is the best way to learn the buses here. Just get on one, see what happens. Took the wrong bus once and thought I could take the same for a return. You see, it doesn't work like that, does it? But
not always.
Bus was now out of service. It reminds me of the time when I was getting the coach up north and I got on the coach. I got back on the coach and I looked at the coach next to me and I thought, those people look a lot like the people who are on my coach that got us this far. I had got on the wrong coach. I was meant to be going to Porto. Luckily, I was able to get off and get on the right one. But it happens. All of this stuff happens here. Had to walk a long way to find the alternate, or was it all a bad dream? Yes, maybe it was just a bad dream, João Ernesto. Vitor is joining us in just a moment. James, you've told us about An Old Guy in Europe, episode 11, I believe. This
yes.
Friday. And
thank you for noticing.
A little bit of bus banter. Is there anything else you want to tell us before Vitor joins us?
Well, something came up for me, and I think I can get it in fairly briefly, based on last week, where I had a bit of my rant about why do I need to be informed. Yes. And it was the word ideology. I meant to include that in the overall comments I was making, but I've seen a few sort of meme type T-shirts that say, you won't change my ideology with facts or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. So to me, as part of being informed, I can be the most informed human in the world. And if I'm trying to influence someone to see things the way that I see them based on the facts that I know, and they're stuck in an ideology, it's pointless. Like, just don't even have the conversation. You're not going to change their mind because their mind isn't based on the facts that are on hand. It's based on their ideology. And not all ideology is bad. It's just sort of a common way of thinking within a culture or a group of people or even an individual. But sometimes that ideology is based on nothing but what I think.
Yes.
And nothing about what's really going on in the world. So that ideology, you're never going to change. So why bother? Again, and that's the primary motivation, I think, for a lot of people who feel they need to be informed, is so that they can go educate people about the truth, I mean, as they know it, and then have made a difference in the world. But you get someone who's anchored in an ideology that's opposed to the facts that you understand.
Yes. It can be a sport. It can be a sport, can't it? Because Doug and I are like that. He does my head in. I mean, and I'm sure I do his in as well. It's a matter of. I mean, we go at it on Facebook. So I guess if you see it as a sport and not as actually trying to change anybody's point of view, it can be good fun. But totally take on board your point. Thank you very much for that. Yes, ideology. It's a funny old thing, isn't it? And it does seem especially prevalent at the moment. And I suspect Vitor might have something to add to this. Let's bring him on now and see what he has to say.